What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the one thing you need to do in order to find the best Airbnb investing market. Now, I talk to a bunch of people all the time about short-term rental investing. With BNB Inner Circle, we help people to invest successfully in short-term rental properties. And so I have come across this question so often, probably more than just about anyone, is where do I invest? What is the best market? And my answer always varies and it always depends on the person, but ultimately I think I've done a pretty good job at this point of distilling it down into really one main thing that you need to do in order to find the best short-term rental investing markets, and that is look where it's not super obvious. What I mean by this is you want to look where other investors aren't looking if you do truly want to find the best possible deals. Now, I want to add an asterisk onto this, and that asterisk is to say that in just about any market, you can find really good properties for short-term rental where the returns are really great and they'll perform really well. And in just about any market, you can also find really bad properties where the returns won't be great and you won't make any money at all. And so ultimately, the skill set that you want to get best at as an investor is finding specific properties and finding specific deals and doing the due diligence on those deals to figure out whether they're good or bad. It's less so about finding the perfect market because in my experience, the perfect market doesn't really exist. I think that a lot of investors have it in their head that the perfect market is going to just crop up somewhere where every single deal cash flows incredibly well and there's no going wrong in that market. And that's just not the truth. Every market has its pros and its cons. And although there are some better markets where you're going to find more good deals and fewer bad deals, and some worse markets where you'll find more bad deals and fewer good deals, there is no one perfect market. But if I had to distill down and figure out what the kind of common theme is among the better markets compared to the worst markets, it's that the better markets are not the big popular markets that everyone is investing in and that everyone knows about. So when you think about the markets like, for example, the Smoky Mountains, or you think about big cities like New York or Miami or LA, or you think about really massively popular short-term rental destinations like Kissimmee, Florida, those markets just tend to kind of not make sense for investing if you're specifically looking for the easiest time of finding good deals. Again, like I said before, you can find good deals in any of these markets. It just may be harder to do than looking in some kind of less well-known markets. And the reason for this is pretty simple. There's already an established reputation in those markets of being really great short-term rental markets, and there's already this huge amount of popularity, and so because of that, you just have more competition. Ultimately, the price of any property, when we're dealing with single-family homes and mostly residential properties, it's really just a factor of supply and demand. There's a set amount of supply for the most part. There are going to be fluctuations in supply over time, but you pretty much have what you have in a given market for supply. And it's pretty predictable what it's going to be based on the new buildings going up or the amount of supply coming onto the inventory. What really makes a difference in these markets in particular is demand. And so if you take a market like Kissimmee, Florida, or the Smoky Mountains, when they get really popular like this and everyone thinks that they're a great place to invest in, well, now suddenly there's a lot more demand for the same amount of supply, and so you start to have your prices going up. And so a lot of these markets were really great markets to invest in a couple of years ago, but they're not necessarily the best markets to be investing in right now. Again, I just want to emphasize that it's not to say that you cannot find good deals in those markets. If for your own personal reasons, lifestyle or whatnot, you want to be investing in those markets, again, it's so much more important and impactful as an investor to get really good at that due diligence process so you can actually find really good deals in virtually any market. But again, there are just going to be better opportunities out there if you're more open-ended as far as where you want to invest and you're just looking to find the best possible deals and find them relatively easily. Then there's going to be some 3 years ago Blue Ridges, some 3 years ago Smoky Mountains, some 10 years ago Kissimmees that are going to present better buying opportunities for the most part. And so what you want to do is get into those markets before all the hype. You want to get into them and start investing before there's all this demand built up from people knowing and seeing that it has been performing historically really well for short-term rentals. And so then the question is, how do you do that? No one has a crystal ball. No one can see and predict the future of where the market's going. So what's an investor to do? Guys, just want to take a quick break here to say that for those of you watching who want to build cash flow and long-term wealth by purchasing Airbnbs and short-term rental properties, there's a link in the description right down below for a free training that'll walk you through my exact strategy for investing successfully in Airbnbs. Now, if you're not ready to actually buy properties and you want to get started managing other people's properties on Airbnb, the same way I got started, and build a full-time income managing other people's properties, there's actually another free training linked in the description down below as well that'll be a really great fit for you. So whether you want to invest in short-term rental properties and actually build amazing cash flow and long-term wealth by acquiring the assets, buying the properties themselves, or you're looking to earn a full-time income managing other people's properties on Airbnb, we've got some awesome trainings that are linked in the description down below that'll definitely help you out. When you sign up for the trainings, we're also going to send you a few other tools and resources completely for free just to help you get started. Again, the links to sign up are in the description down below, and both trainings and all of the tools are completely free. So make sure to register for the trainings, links in the description down below. Well, ultimately, the answer to this boils down to data. You need to have as much data and as good of data and as good a skill set of interpreting that data as possible in order to make the best decisions. Ultimately, there were people that knew about each one of these markets before they blew up and knew about the unique opportunity they had. And it wasn't because they had this great big crystal ball that allowed them to see the future. It's because they were able to have access to data that actually figured that out for them. And so what you can do is work with companies like AirDNA or other companies out there that are going to give you data and actually run a huge macro analysis on where the best buying opportunities are right now, not where they were 3 years ago. And so for example, AirDNA for their enterprise clients releases something called the BPTI report. It stands for Best Places to Invest. Now we have access to that report. They release it quarterly and it tells us, after analyzing every market in North America, they can boil down and tell us where the best opportunities are, where the best markets are for investing. That's very expensive. Obviously, it's out of reach with those enterprise packages for most smaller scale investors, which is why working with us, you can leverage tools and data like that without having to pay an arm and a leg for them. And that's one of the big benefits of working with an outfit like ours. But really what it comes down to is if you have that data and you know how to use it the right way, that's where you're going to get a leg up on the competition and be able to find the best buying opportunities and the best markets to invest in. It's really about figuring out where supply is trending, where demand is trending towards before it's already reached the peak. And so it's kind of like, again, I don't want to use this because it's such a speculative investment, but if you think about Bitcoin, so many people bought in at the very peak of Bitcoin when it was already really, really popular and everybody knew that it was a great opportunity. I'm very, very much using air quotes for anyone that might be listening to audio and not be looking at the video. So there's so many people that bought in at the top, and what happened to them is they got burned and they didn't get really great returns. Whereas the people that identified at the very beginning of the growth curve that it was a good buying opportunity, those people made a lot more money. And so the same philosophy applies to anything you might be investing in, is if you invest at the bottom of the growth curve as opposed to at the top, you're going to make more money. The problem is that most people tend to invest at the top of that growth curve because that's when it's so obvious to everyone that there is this opportunity. It's not obvious that there's this opportunity down at the bottom of the growth curve. It's very, very obvious that the opportunity was there at the top, but at the top is also usually the end of that growth curve. So when it's the point of being the most obvious that there is a growth opportunity, that's when it's the least likely, frankly, that that growth opportunity is actually going to continue. So you need to get really good at spotting things at the bottom. And in order to do that effectively, you need to really leverage and use data. You can't just rely on your gut instincts because that's just speculation. And ultimately, it has to be backed up by fundamentals and by data that you can rely on. So that's my best answer, non-answer. When you're looking for the best market, there is no one size fits all answer. I really do wish that I could just share in a video like this, here is the best possible market. But ultimately it depends on you as an investor, what your budget is, what your criteria are for the property, what type of property you're looking for, all these different factors. So there is a strategy and a system, an approach for how to find the best market for you, even though there may not be a one size fits all best answer. And in order to leverage that strategy, the biggest fundamental principle you need to have nailed down is your due diligence process, is that use of data to inform your decision making. So if you want to work with us, check out the links in the description down below, and we can help show you exactly how to use that data and exactly how to find the best opportunities for your own self and your own investing. And otherwise, if you just like this video, if you found it was helpful, insightful, thoughtful, thought-provoking, anything at all that's positive, just let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know by hitting the like button. Again, it takes half a second for you, but it really, really does make a huge difference for me. If you just take a half a second, scroll your mouse down over there and click that little like button, helps me out tremendously as I'm hoping to grow this channel and help more people with short-term rental investing. So please take half a second and just do that right now. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And last but not least, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with the 2 new videos we post every single week on the channel here. With all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.